Ryan Cole, congratulations. Another Mountain West Conference championship, the trifecta, as the men win the conference championship again, this time in the outdoor. Congratulations, and to you for Coach of the Year.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And they had a very good meet.
Yeah, for sure. Tell me, I know going in, it was you and CSU. Just talk me through it, how it played out. And there's always ups and downs, points you're getting here you didn't expect to get, points you're not getting there you expected to get. How did it play out for you? And as, you know, the guy in the reins, how nerve-wracking was it?
It was exciting. I think when you go in a 4-day track meet with 21 events, there's always going to be ebb and flow. And I told our team going in, we're really good at rolling with the punches. You have to be as a cadet, you have to be as a successful track program. And so for our track and field team to go in there knowing that there are going to be some events that exceed expectations, there are going to be a lot of events hopefully that meet expectations, and then there are going to be some challenges, and that's just the way track meets play out. But when you looked at the projection, we knew it was going to be close between Air Force and Colorado State. Each group had some challenges throughout the meet, but overall our guys did a really nice job just staying the course, and they were rewarded for that. As the meet went on, we were down. It looked like if you watched the score as the meet played out, it looked like we were getting down by a pretty large margin toward the end of Saturday. But when you looked at the overall projection of how those events were supposed to play out, I think we were down by about 10. At one point was probably the biggest margin, but you still have to make that up if you want to win. So the last three events were really big for us in the 200, the 5K, and the 4x4. And going into the 5K, we were down 12.5 points. So I pulled the guys together and essentially said, do you want to win a conference title? Yeah. We knew we had to score 15 more points than whatever CSU put up in that event, and our guys went out and scored 24 points, and they scored 4. Yeah. So that essentially was what sealed it. That was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, tumultuous season, and let's talk a little bit about the pressure of the men's team. Sorry to stick with the men for just a moment, but of the men's team, you won the cross country, you won the indoor, you're going into the outdoor. Maybe people are expecting you to slip up a little bit, especially because of the adversity with the loss of your head coach. How did they handle it in your mind?
I think they handled it very well. I think the results show that, but that's the expectation. You come to this institution to develop a certain skill set that goes beyond athletics. We help develop that skill set through athletics, and it's important that we're successful in that, because if you're not successful in your athletics, you're probably not successfully developing that skill set. But that's the expectation. And I told our team after the meet, you're going to have some challenging things that happen in your life. Hopefully you're better prepared to meet those challenges and work through those challenges because of what you experience, not just as a cadet, but as a cadet athlete in track and field. So there was a lot. Going in, there's already the normal pressure and the excitement and the energy being taken away, not just from necessarily challenging things, but also positive things like graduation or ring dance or, just whatever your finals. you have all these different things you have to address as you finish off an academic year. And then it could also be your last collegiate track and field competition for a senior, if you're not going on to the NCAA championships. It could also be your last collegiate competition of that season. And, you want to do really well to try to earn an opportunity to go to the national championships. Those are normal stresses that every student athlete faces as they move toward the end of the year. But I think you add the extra stress of trying to finish off a Triple Crown, and that pressure that's added to it. Or you're trying to do something to honor the legacy of Coach Lindemann. That starts to become a heavy burden to carry into a championship event. And so I tried to get our team to focus on being in the moment. And if you're enjoying the moment and making the most of the moment, those outcomes, honoring Coach Lindemann, finishing off a Triple Crown, winning a conference title, trying to do everything you can to help the team, all of those things start to take care of themselves. And if you focus on being in the moment and what you need to do to make the most of that moment, typically things go pretty well.
So many great moments when you win a championship. Are there any moments that you would like to point out individually that individuals did well to help you win this championship?
No, it was really a team effort. And a lot of people, the narrative around track and field, right, it's not a team sport, and they're just wrong. Right? That's the wrong narrative. It's very much a team sport. And so when you have people out there doing their events for each other, committing to that process for each other. It's really, even after the meet, we didn't go through and point out this person scored this many points, this person won that event. It was just being proud of the team. I think two things that stood out to me were both 4x1 relays. And so in the 4x100 meter relay, we had one of our top sprinter was having some challenges, and we knew that the meet wasn't going to be quite what we had hoped it would be and what he hoped it would be. And we subbed him off of the 4x1, and we put Wyatt Murphy, after doing the decathlon, onto the anchor leg of the 4x1. And as a senior, Wyatt said, Coach, put me in whatever to help the team. I'll do whatever I can to help the team. And that's what he did. And then on the women's side, we anchored with Katie Thompson. Katie had not run a track race all year. Right. And so to come off the long jump, and that was, she'd worked through an injury situation this spring, and to get her back, we were very excited about that. The long jump was challenging for her. She just didn't have the training under her belt that she needed to have to be successful in that event with the circumstances she was working through. But we know that Katie's one of our fastest people. And so we said, Katie, are you open to running the 4x1? And she just smiled and shook her head. Yeah, I'll do it. And she went out there and she did it for her team. And it was the first time we tried once before early in the season without Katie, and we didn't get the stick around. And then you put Katie out there on the anchor leg doing it for the team, and the women ran the 7th fastest time in school history. And that's an event that you typically get better with reps, because you just get a rhythm down and a comfortability and in the exchanges and when to take off in your exchange zone and those sort of things. And Katie did a great job. So I look at the 4x1s. And what Katie did, what Wyatt did, and it's really indicative of what every person in an Air Force uniform was doing out there, and that was doing whatever they could to help the team.
Yeah. We could sit here all day and go through all of these individual performances. I'm trying not to do that because we probably would leave someone out. But what I'd like you to do is maybe address the season. Again, congratulations, fantastic trifecta for the men. The women, maybe a little bit below expectations, or maybe where fans thought they might end up. How do you see this track and field team moving forward? And let's start with the women, because there are some really bright stars there.
Yeah, I think on the women's side, we may have left a few points on the table, but we were projected to score about 30 high, maybe 40 if we had just an absolutely flawless meet with just the personnel that we had. We scored 35 points, and you look at last year, we scored 34 and a half, and that was with 20 points coming from Mihaela Norris. I mean, she won 2 events, and she was the athlete of the meet. So when you take someone like Mihaela or Maria Metler out, those are 2 pretty big superstars there that you remove from the roster, and to come back with a more full team, a more complete team, and score more points than you did last year, I think is a step in the right direction. But you look at the women's team, and we scored in 9 different events, and we need to continue to build upon that. But there were seniors in their scoring, but there were also freshmen and their scoring and their events in the pole vault, in the 5K, in the 1500. So when you look ahead, I think we can have people scoring in the long jump. We can have people scoring in the hurdles. We've proven we can score in the 4x1, and we got 4th in the 4x4. You have somebody setting a school record with Michelle Roca in the 400 hurdles, and I think she'd been at 60 point about 12 or 13 times over the last 2 years, and I kept telling her, Michelle, 59 something, and she'd smile. And to see, at her last conference championship, to go out and run 59.8, set a school record and get 5th, was pretty cool. And she had a huge smile on her face afterwards. So she was just so excited to see that finally, come to fruition. So I think our future is very bright for the women, but we need to continue to have the teams build off of each other. And so the men have proven that you can do it at the conference level, but we've actually had more women earn All-American honors and score better at national championships than we have men. And so for the men, I hope they don't get complacent just being a conference championship team. I hope they say, okay, last year the women were 16th at nationals for outdoor track and field. We were not. How do we do that? And then I hope the women look at the men and say, okay, yeah, we were a top 20 team last year in the country, but it was with a small number of people. How do we grow that and have more people follow that example so that when we go to the conference championship, we have a better chance to be a conference team champion? And so I think those 2 groups can really feed off of each other, and hopefully that helps both groups be more successful as we move forward.
That's exciting. Ryan Cole, thank you so much for the time again. Congratulations, and we'll see you next season.
Thank you, Brian.